Today, our Poro is on another adventure. This time, he's not going after ice cream. He still has plenty of that stored up in his house. Well, deep in his tunnel. He's been eating it for quite some time now. But he's looking for something to add to it to spice it up just a little bit. He's not exactly sure what he's going to be looking for. So he's left his home up in the Freljord, away from the cold. And he's investigating, following his nose, trying to see exactly where and what he's going to find. Something smells tasty to him, a spice on the wind, and he's following it. He's been traveling for several days. Everywhere he looks now, there's tall grass and plains, rolling hills. Occasionally he sees a tree line. He can hear chirping birds, but our little Poro trots along, following his nose, trying to figure out what smells so good. His trusty nose doesn't lie. Eventually, he sees something in the distance, a statue, or maybe a weird-looking rock? Whatever it is, it's in the direction of the scent. Okay, he trots. Faster this time. He's looking, eagerly trying to see where the source of the scent is. As he gets closer, he realizes that's one big statue. He's been walking for quite the while now, and it doesn't seem to be getting much closer. Well, it's been about an hour or something. Poro time passes differently than what humans know. He gets close, and he starts seeing swords and hammers, spears, and shields just stuck on the ground or leaning up against rocks. That's pretty weird, but the smell is really strong now. The Poro stops, shuffles back and forth, and he sees it. There's a little plant, bit of green, bit of orange. He walks over to it, stepping delicately, and that's where the smell is coming from. The orange bit on this plant. He takes a chomp out of it. It's spicy, sweet. That would go great on top of the ice cream. Yep. With determination, now he knows he definitely wants to gather all of these herbs. And he's going to make sure that he has enough for the ice cream back at home. So he pulls out a pack, and the little Poro starts to shove it full of herbs. These little spices that he's found. There aren't too many down here, but he still can smell it really strongly. Our Poro pauses for a moment, looks around. As he's looking, there are tons more swords and other things just stuck in the ground. They're old, a little rusted. But more importantly, he doesn't see very many spices laying about. Here and there, yeah. But nothing that should be matching with how much he's smelling. So, he then looks at the statue, and his eyes go wide. There are herbs and plants coming out of the statue in cracks, crevices, everywhere, growing all over it. Mostly up higher, so the Poro decides he's going to go gather some. And he gets close, and he's standing at the foot of the statue. How am I supposed to get up there? He starts hopping, trying to get a foothold. He gets so focused on some of the herbs, he sees a particular big one up high. After several minutes, he realizes he's actually climbed up there, and he's looking at it right to the leaves. Oh, how'd I get up? Okay. And he just starts picking, without a second thought as to how he got up there in the first place. And then he hears something. The Poro stops, shifty-eyed. Where's that coming from? Then he sees it. Kind of in the distance, at the edge of the field where the swords start to stick in the ground, there's a tall red man, red and black and maybe wings? He has a huge sword on his back. But he keeps picking up the swords from the ground, swinging them and then setting them back in the ground, kind of like delicately. Interesting. He's a little weird, but okay. The Poro continues picking herbs and putting them in his pack. He keeps hearing the swinging of the swords and other weapons, and then he starts hearing some muttering about rending the filth of your forms? Well, I guess some people are clean freaks. He continues picking. Soon he's filled up his pack, but he's not exactly sure how to get down. He doesn't remember how he even got up here. and it's a long way to the bottom. He paces around the top in the middle. He could get to the middle of the statue fine. Maybe he should try to jump? That's still a long fall. He's so caught up and so deep in his contemplation as to how to get down that he doesn't notice when that red man walks right up to the statue and stares at him. After a couple of minutes, the Poro stops, feeling the eyes of someone staring at him. He then looks up and meets the eyes of the red man. His eyes glow with almost like a firelight, warm, and somehow intense. There's a pause. The man stares at him as if he's confused or unsure of what to do. The Poro simply is staring between the man and the ground, like, maybe I can climb down him. There's no fear in the Poro's eyes. There's no reason to. The guy was just walking around moments ago, or maybe minutes ago? Who knows? Eventually, the man brings up his sword, the huge one on his back, and holds the flat end towards the Poro. He seems reluctant to do so. The Poro decides to step onto the blade. Well, by step, he hops. He lands with a clink onto the blade. Now I just have to wait for him to put the sword down just like all the other ones, and I can ride it down. He pants happily, his tongue hanging. He stares at the man, and he waits. The man keeps looking at him, a little unsure of what exactly to do from here. He's definitely not used to people, or really anything, being so comfortable around him. There's definitely a pause where he's considering what to do. He lowers his blade slowly, and when it's at a certain angle, the Poro decides to use it as a slide, and he rolls all the way down to the ground. When he rolls onto the ground, he doesn't miss a beat. He keeps on walking back home. He spares a glance backwards, panting happily, as the red man turns and starts to walk away. He's grumbling and muttering something about being a world ender, whatever that means, but he sure seemed nice. The Poro continues his long journey back home. Eventually, he makes it through all the snow and back into his tunnel. He goes to the deep corner of the tunnel where he's hiding his stash, takes out some of the ice cream, and immediately puts some of the spices on it to try it out. He chomps happily on it. It really is delicious. Maybe I'll try sauce next time, too.